And welcome back to the channel, and welcome to all the new people that are just now watching this for the first time. Today I am going to show you how to build a ship from scratch in the ship builder in Starfield. So someday even you can make a monstrosity like this that has basically no point except cargo. It's a beast though. Anyway, let's get right into it. First you got to find yourself this guy. They're located at every starport in the game. Except one, I think, doesn't have this guy. But if you look for this kiosk right here, you'll usually find a guy next to it. This is who you want to talk to. So you find this guy and you say that you want to view and modify your ship. And that'll bring you to this menu. And then you can go through your ships and whatever you have. You can just mess with anything, build whatever you want. But say you're starting out and this is your first ship, which is the ship they give you when you start the game, the Frontier, and you want to upgrade it or you want to build a completely new ship. Well, it's actually easier than you think. So what you're going to want to do right off the bat is you want to go into the ship builder, hit your X button on your controller, Xbox controller, and that'll bring up the build menu. Now, there's a quick way to do this and a slow way. The slow way is to take each component and try to match them up or whatever, but I like to start from scratch. So if you see on the screen it says there's a select all, which is I believe on the Xbox controller the right bumper or no, left bumper, and that'll bring up the entire ship. Hit your X button and everything disappears. So this is where it gets fun. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start off with a not the Docker but the other one. Try to find it here. Your bay, which is the way you enter your ship. Now, at first, you're not going to get many options. You're only going to get a couple, which is why I'm at the first planet you go to. So this is where we're starting from. You can choose either one of these. Let's go with this one. Okay, this is where you start. Now, remember, on these, you see that little arrow? That's how you're going to be able to enter your ship, is where these arrows are. These ones are attachment points. These are where people can actually go through. It's important to remember these because you got to make sure those line up. And see, there's just an attacher on there too. Okay? So next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to either decide. We're just going to make this quick and fast. Next thing we'll do is we'll go with a cockpit. So you're going to want to pick a cockpit now. Let me see if I can get this away from this a little bit. You're going to want to pick a cockpit. See, this cockpit you go in through the backside, which means you'll have to have a hab up here, and then you can go into the cockpit. Let's see if we got one that can go through the bottom. No, actually, I think they're all like this. No, they're the bigger ones. When you get into the game, there are options where you can come in through the bottom. But to start off, I guess the only two are these two, where you have to come in through the back. So that's not a problem. We'll just get rid of this. Or we won't take that. We'll get rid of that. So the next thing we'll do is we'll put a hab on here. So you go back in your menu and you just click over to your habs, which is these. And this is basically where your people live, way they transport through the ship. You get bigger ones or smaller ones. As the game progresses and the more you open up, you'll get bigger ones. Now these you can go in. If you look, you can see the arrows are from every side. That means you can go through these in any direction. So we'll pick a small one. Now remember, these all have options. You see, there's different types for each one. You have the science, living quarters, computer. That's how you determine what hab you're going to have on your ship. So we're just going to go with the basic one, just right off the gate, out of the gate, just to have it. So we'll take that and move it towards the ship. You want to go up a level. I highly suggest using a controller for this because the computer controls or keyboard controls are a little different, and with Xbox controller, it's what I'm using. Your directional pad, you can go up and down with it, pretty simple, and you can just move it with your joysticks. So we're going to put that right there. If you look on the bottom, you can see that's an entry point, and that's an entry point there. So we're going to put that there, and then you're going to want to just grab a cockpit. And there's a method to my madness. This way you get all the stuff you're going to need before you even start messing with engines or anything. These cockpits are nice because they got the two things on the sides. That'll be great for weapons in the future. But now this piece right here, you see where the arrow is. You want to make sure that that's there. So you hook that onto the front of your ship. And might have to put one more hab on here. We'll get rid of that one. We'll go with one that's a little longer. We'll go with the 2-1. That way it covers the dang it, I missed it. That way it covers the bottom part of it covers this right here. This extra little spot connection point. You'll have your entrance, plus it'll cover that. That way your cockpit can go in the front. So we'll take him and we'll put him hopefully right there. Take him. And put him there. And that's how you're the beginning of a ship. Now you can go into your ship here, go up to this hab, and go into your cockpit. Now what I like to do is, when that's done, I want to put my engine on in my grav drive. And the reason for that is if I try to put a docking station on the top here, where you dock to another space station or something, whatever else you do might get in the way of that. So you want to kind of keep that roughly to the end, or near the end where you know it's not going to be in the way. So now that we've got our hab, and we got our cockpit, and we got our entrance to the ship when you land, let's go to some engines and engines. So we're just going to put a small engine on here. You can go all the way up. Like I said, once you progress through the game, you can get a lot more stuff. Well, we're just going to start off small, and we'll just go with. Actually, let's go with the grav drive and the reactor first. So we'll just get a small reactor, and we'll grab him, put him there, and then we'll go with our grav drive. Just get a small one again, take him, and put him there. Now your grav drive and your engine are set up, and grav drive and your reactor are set up. Reactors are what you're going to need for power of the ship. That's what's going to power up your weapons, your ship engines, all that good stuff. Your grav drive is basically your gravity jump. It tells you how many systems you go through at one time. I think it's 30 is the max, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I know those guys will say, oh my God, no, you're wrong. Well, okay, I'm wrong, and I admit it. But anyway, let's go back to engines. We're going to put an engine on here now. And you want to make sure that you don't do what I just did and try to figure out where you're going to put your engine now. I should have went with a grav drive or something that had connections on the sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this grav drive out. Wait, that's supposed to have connections on the side. Oh, the engine doesn't have connections on the side. Yeah, see these engines only connect from this side. So let's do this. Go back into engines. I hope this isn't confusing. And yeah, see now there's an engine that you can get that connects on the side. So we'll grab him and we'll put him there. Now, when you have the Xbox controller, when you hover over this, not clicking on it, but when you just hover over it, you can hit your Y button and it'll make another one of those instantly. Then you hit your Y button again and it'll switch sides. And there you go, you have your two engines. Now see down there in the right hand corner, there's a red thing that says 3 errors. That is, you hit your start button, I think, whichever one it is hit, and it says what's missing yet. You're missing a doctor, you're missing landing gear, and minimal fuel tank count, and it'll tell you your weapon systems aren't on and stuff like that. So you just want to ignore that till the end, till you're done with your build, and that'll be all fine. So now that we have our engines, what we're going to want to do is put some landing gear on this thing. Now, from this point, you can start putting storage and stuff. The more storage areas you put on the ship, the more landing gear you're going to need. So let's just don't have much room for landing gear right now, but I think we can put some on here. So you go to gear, and it gives you a couple options out of the gate. You want to go with something. If you look to the left, you see landing thrust and hull. Landing thrust on these first two is the same, and so is the hull. But as the game progresses, you'll get better landing gear. But right now we don't have better landing gear, so we're going to go with this. Oop. And we'll do the same thing, do the old flip side. There, now she's got landing gear. Now the only two areas left, I'm going to assume that it's the no Docker and fuel. So we're going to need a fuel tank. So we go to fuel. Come on, there we go. Fuel tanks. So again, always when you're in the menu, look to where these things attach from. Where's the attach point? That node. You see it's on the sides on these ones, but then you get to the bigger ones, and you can pretty much put them anywhere. Like I said, I'm a pretty high level, so I got a lot of this stuff already unlocked. You won't have all this stuff, but this is just for learning purposes anyway for right now. So we want to find something. Probably that's going to be a top-down. That'll have an attachment point on the bottom. Yeah, we'll just go with. Want to try to keep it small, but well, anyway, this will be our fuel. And we'll put him there, and now we're down to one air. And that one air, I guarantee, is a Docker. Yeah, missing the Docker. Okay, now the Docker is important because whenever you land at another space station, or any place that you need a dock, you have to have a Docker that is not compromised by anything else. In other words, it can't sit lower than this is high, because at some stations you won't be able to dock it. So let's go to the Dockers. And like I said in the beginning, they don't give you many, but they give you enough to get you started. These two, I think, are the ones in the beginning. I think this one was an extra. I can't remember. But anyway, just grab either one of these, bring them over to your ship, and put them anywhere that is connected to a hab. Them two have an entrance point, that little arrow. That means you have to be able to hook it up to another one with an arrow so your guy can actually go through there. If you don't, it won't work. So we're going to stick him there, and there it is. Now you got 4 warnings, and I bet they're weapons. Missing shield. Yeah, the 3 weapons assignments and a shield. So you don't need this stuff, but I guarantee you're going to want it. So what we'll do now is we'll just go to shields, and we'll just grab a small shield, and we'll stick him right on top of the fuel tank because that looks like a good place for it. Now remember, you look at what they come with, where they hook up. Shields are generally one-sided, but they can go on different sides. I didn't want to grab him. You can put them on different sides of the ships. Now weapons, you can look, when you hover over something, you can see where the attachment points are. So we're probably going to put a weapon on this side, and on this side, I think you can get one underneath too on this one. On this particular cockpit. Yeah, you can put one underneath, and then we got one left on top of the hab. So let's do that real quick. Go to our weapons. You're going to want to make sure you get one of each. You want the ballistic, the laser, and the EMP, I think is the other one. So we'll put this K-20 cannon on here. And even though these are attached from the bottom, they will hook to the sides. They're pretty good about that. So we'll put our cannon there, and now we'll go to EMP. And I don't know, let's see if you go on there or not. Yeah, we'll put our EMP there, and then last but not least, we'll put our big one on here, our laser. Actually, I think we need a rocket launcher. Yeah, ballistics. So we'll put him on there. And like I said, with weapons, the attachment side, it really doesn't matter because they'll hook on. Other stuff won't. So we have 2 errors. That probably means my reactor's not big enough to handle some of this stuff. Unassigned weapon and invalid Docker module. Why was my Docker... Oh, I put that radar up there. Yeah. See, you can't go up there. Just like I was saying before, you want to make sure your Docker's going to be last, but this radar is in the way when it docks. So I got to move him. And we'll just set him here. And that warning's gone now. And the only last warning left is the assignment for the weapons. You got to make sure you assign your weapons. So when you go into this menu, if you're using the Xbox controller, hit your right bumper and that'll take you to weapons assignments. Click on one and pick a weapon. It's that simple. Click on the next one, pick... Oops, my control's a little screwy. You pick on the next one. And don't pick the same weapon twice because that'll screw it up. You've got the EMP suppressor on your first trigger. And we'll put the missile launcher on the second one. Whoops. And on the third one, we'll hit the cannon. So now all our weapons are set. That you see on the bottom now, it says normal. There's no errors. That's it. That's the ship. And if you want to color it, because I like to keep everything colored, you select the entire ship, and then you hit down on your left joystick. And that'll bring up your color palette. And you can just use your D-pad to scroll through it. We'll just say, we'll go with the preset colors here. We'll say black, and then hit your right bumper. That'll switch to the next palette. And we'll make it orange. Why not? And there it is. And just back out of it, hit accept, and you got a nice brand new shiny ship. And you can make it your home ship on the bottom, you see on the row across, where if you hit your, I think that's the menu button, hit that and that'll make it your home ship, and now you're good to go. And back out, and there it is. Easy peasy. Now, in the game, you will, put the gun away. In the game, you're going to run into problems where you have landing gear issues because you have too much storage on your ship. When you start putting storage containers or bigger modules, you're going to have more landing gear, and that's where it can become a pain in the butt. But anyway, that's how you build a ship. The easiest, fastest way. And when you get up in the ship, you get in your cockpit, you can see it's all together. There it is. And your Docker should be up there somewhere. And this is the hab. And this is your Docker that you put on there. That's where you dock the ships, and that's how you get out of the ship. So right straight through, shot to the cockpit. So that's it. That's all there is to shipbuilding in Starfield. I hope I made this simple enough. I hope I didn't confuse you. Like I said, this is making the bare minimum ship, but it gives you an idea of what you got to have. Where the arrows are key, because that's where your people can go through, is wherever there's an arrow. Make sure you have your Docker. Make sure you have your landing gear all set right. Keep an eye on the warnings. If there is a warning, if it's yellow, you can still make the ship and back out of the menu, and you'll be fine, because a lot of times you'll have it where there's a mobility issue. Like that big cargo ship that I have, that has a mobility issue. Where, let me show you real quick. I'll get back to the guy. I keep grabbing my gun. I don't want to keep grabbing that. Mobility issues aren't really an issue unless you're going to do a lot of combat with the ship and you want to
Okay, no problem.
It's only an issue if you're into a lot of space fighting. But like you see, this one has one warning on it, and that warning is a mobility issue, low mobility. That's because I can't put bigger engines on here, because then I end up going past my my reactor limit, and if I add more weight to it, I have to put more landing gear, and I don't have room to put any more landing gear on here. This thing is just monstrously huge. This is a cargo ship. These are all storage pods on here. That's why it weighs so dang much. It has to have so much landing gear. But let them get no sidetracked. The mobility issue is what I'm talking about. Even with that warning, the yellow warning, you can still have the ship and still back out, and you'll still have it. It's just going to be a little less mobile. And when I mean less, I mean very little. It's not bad at all. And smaller ships you probably won't even notice. But yeah, so that's it. That's how you build a ship. Just remember, anytime you have a hab, or your cockpit up there, you have to have a hab to be able to dock and get to that cockpit, and also be able to enter your ship. Like I've got mine on the backside. You enter your ship and be able to get to the cockpit. That's all you got to make sure is there's a way to get to that cockpit from your docker and your landing gear. That way, you're golden. And for anybody that wants to see it, I'll show you what the inside of the ship looks like. If you don't care for that, you can kill the video right now because there won't be anything after this. But this is the monstrosity I came up with for my cargo ship. You just enter it back here. And when you get in here, I made it so the habs are lined up so you don't have to, keep wandering around the ship to figure out where to go. You can just do a straight shot. I put some habs off to the side there. This is all underneath the cargo areas. You see, this is the front. And then back here, where I made the other side, I made the whole lower half living quarters. And, just whatever you want to do. And then there's a hab above it. And you climb your ladder. And that takes you straight up. And my cockpit is still one more level up, so I had to have these habs. And the cockpit is right here. And the docker is right here. So when I dock to another station, I literally can see it out of this window, which I put on here. I thought was cool. So you dock right there. You can come in and out there. So if I came in from a space station, I would be coming in here, take a right, and I'm right up here. One of the wild things when you steal a ship in the game, or you buy a pre-made ship, sometimes it's a trick to figure out how the heck to get to the cockpit. So whenever you're making a ship, always try to make it as easy as you can to get back to your cockpit. So there it is. I hope you guys learned something. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe, doesn't cost anything. Hit that notification bell. I'll be releasing videos probably usually about once a week. I'm going to try to now. Other than that, I really hope you learned something, guys, and I hope I made the shipbuilding experience a little easier for you. And yeah, I appreciate you watching the video. You guys have a great day.